8, week number 3. The uh, graphic, of course, will get posted tomorrow. Blah, blah, blah. You all know this. Let's get into it, shall we? Number 8, the Cleveland Browns. We feel good about this one, folks. We wanted this one last week. We are putting them in today. What their defense is doing right now is it is silly. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put the records here too, we're going to start getting into the year and people are going to be like, what's the record? So I'm going to start getting used to that. The Browns it is insane what the Browns are doing defensively. The three best like next gen clipboard level stats this season for defense, like highest rated games, is the Browns defense. Jim Schwartz has done the Lord's work just using their depth, their talent, and insane different levels of scheme to weaponize not just Myles Garrett, who might be the best and probably is right now the best pass rusher in the league. Pass rush. Shout out to Chris Collinsworth, the best pass rusher in the NFL. But he doesn't play for the Steelers or whatever, so people don't think or the Cowboys. So he doesn't. I mean, I guess Micah's the best edge rusher, but Myles Garrett's the man. My point is, with what they do to scheme stuff up to allow their defense to have advantageous matchups, it is very impressive. And listen, their defense is humming. They should be 3-0, if not for the Pittsburgh defense, who's really good as well, going full 1985 redacted, and finding a way to steal that game. Here is also a thing that I will say that you're not going to hear from many people, because people don't like him, and it's fun to hate on him. Deshaun Watson was really good yesterday. And that is a great sign in a spot where your first game without Nick Chubb, he's not going to have that every week, but if that can be your barometer, and you're kind of middling ground on a weekly basis, that is really good. And I'm impressed. I'm going to be very, very interested to see where this team goes and if their offense can continue to navigate like they did yesterday. And like I said, Deshaun, he had one really dumb play, but other than that, man, Deshaun was really good. So very promising signs. They get the Ravens at home on Sunday. If they win that game, we need to start really simmering in that the Browns could be really legit. All right, number 7, the Detroit Lions. My faith never wavered. I moved them back after the tough loss to Seattle. They did a fantastic job on the defensive end we're going to talk a lot about some defenses here in these first parts, but their defense against Seattle in base personnel which is 3 linebackers on the field. Seattle rolled out 2 tight ends. They rolled out multiple running backs. They just out-personnelled and out-schemed them to death. Geno threw on play action, or when throwing the ball against the Lions base personnel in that Seahawks game, Geno was like 9 of 10 for 100 and some 20 or 30 yards and a touchdown in that game. The Falcons, all they do is run personnel and formational groups that make you play with 3 linebackers on the field because of how they run the ball. They will run 21 personnel. They will run 12 personnel. They will run 22 personnel because they're psychotics. And what that means is in the 12, the first number is the amount of running backs, so 1, and the second number, in that case 2, is the amount of tight ends. And obviously when the offense substitutes those personnels, the defense is going to substitute personnel to match. And the Lions, their weakness on defense is their linebackers, and the Seahawks knew that and exploited it. The Falcons, who run the ball and want to use play action as well, they were not able to exploit that. The Lions, massive credit to them. Brian Branch, again, the Lions people told me all about how the Lions missed on their draft picks. Jahmyr Gibbs playing real well. Jack Campbell playing real well. Sam Laporta is awesome. Already probably one of the 8 best players at his position. Brian Branch, really good. Hey, tell me about how they wasted their first 4 picks on non-impact players, or whatever the clipboard boys call them. Premium position nerds, all you suckers out there that use algorithms to tell you how football is played. Those guys are really good. And Brian Branch yesterday had himself a day. He is a fantastic player. He had 11 tackles from the safety position, just coming up and causing havoc in that run game. He had a couple pass deflections as well. This defense was really, really good for the Lions, and that is a very promising sign moving forward. It's not going to be like this every week, but that is something that you can really use as a measuring stick to continue to go forward throughout the year. And that game Thursday against Green Bay, massive. Number 6, the Buffalo Bills. Listen, we are not, the last thing we are on this show is to not give credit where it's due, even though we don't like the Bills and don't think they're don't think they're going to be a potential playoff team. I mean, right now I would probably put them in because of the Jets and that the disastrous start for them. That was what they have done defensively has the last 2 weeks is impressive. I am going to be interested. Listen, a lot is going to be told in this Miami game. And I think what it is going to probably be is 2 awesome teams just kind of duking it out. I want to see exactly how. I love seeing problems get solved, right? I love seeing how teams look at the equation on the other side of the field in the NFL or in any form of football. And I love seeing how they try to attack it. So I want to know how the Bills and the Dolphins are going to try to attack each other. So I think right now what I'm looking at is how are the Dolphins going to try to stop a run game in the Bills that it seems like they're definitely trying to establish more. And this is by far the bet. Yeah, I would say this is the best defensive line that they've played. I think the Dolphins or the Pats defense is great, but the Bills D line is much better at pressure generation, even though Tua gets the ball out quick and their offense is so fast. That's going to be a huge will thing on both sides on how it gets worked. So for the Bills, that's some stuff I'm looking at for next week. Why I can't be here's why I'm not getting too far cart over the horse with the Bills yet, because the last 2 weeks is what they do. It's what they've been. It is, lose the stupid silly games, but beat the shit out of teams that they're much better than. So how far can they continue that? I mean, maybe that's just how they ride the wave all the way around. So the next 2 weeks, like these last 2 games are nice to see them do their thing, but it's nothing that is, I'm not as impressed with those wins compared to other things. Now, I am impressed that they are looking like they're trying to establish a run game. That is something I'm impressed with. Like the James Cook factor so far, like they are trying to get him going. And that is something that they needed. They need to not use Josh Allen as their main running back, as their main ball carrier. They need to get other guys involved. And if they can actually use James Cook and establish him, then that's something that I think is very important. Moving on, number 5, the Eagles. We said everything we needed to say earlier. Jalen Hurts, very nice bounce back from a passing standpoint this week. A.J. Brown got going. I'll tell you what, they made sure they fed A.J. Brown a lot early tonight, didn't they? That's for damn sure. Also, it's just their O-line. They're still the best team in the trenches in the NFL. The reason we have them at 5 and maybe not a bit higher is their ceiling this season so far hasn't been, at least in a certain aspect, as high as some of the other teams. But also right now, I do put the top 5 teams from here on, I put them all in a group above everybody else. Like, that's just a fact at the moment. They just right now happen to me at number 5 for me. Number 4, the Dallas Cowboys. Was Sunday alarming? All right, so they're missing 4 offensive linemen. They move the ball a bunch and get stuck at the red zone. Here is what I will say is worrisome. The stagnant play calling in the red zone is something I'm worried about. Other than that, I thought they ran the ball well. I thought they utilized stuff offensively outside of the red zone pretty well to be a bit creative, to move the football. I thought after a bit of a sluggish start and the Cardinals kind of catching them off guard with how they were utilizing some of their offensive stuff, I thought the defense in the second half really sat down and got rolling. And listen, obviously Trey Diggs out hurts. Maybe there was a bit of an emotional, like, damn, kind of feeling. 3 days, 4 days removed from him being dinged for the year. So maybe that's why they came out a little flat. But again, tip of the cap to the Cardinals, man. They're just playing really well. And for an outgunned team like Arizona, for them to play that hard and whatnot for 60 minutes and then finish the job, I cannot hate that at all. For Dallas, I'm not super worried because last year the Chiefs played the Colts and got beat, and the Colts stunk. And the Chiefs, it was a dumb game. The Chiefs, Harrison Butker was hurt, so they had a backup kicker in who missed. They faked a field goal. They had a special teams turnover. Chris Jones got a dumb penalty. Like, that game last year against the Colts, the Chiefs, was a calamity, and they were fine. Like, I'm not worried about the Cowboys. The only reason people are more worried about it than they should is because it's the Cowboys. Dumb losses in the National Football League happen all the time. Unless you're the team that we have next, and apparently you just never lose when you play with the team you've got, and that's the Niners. I don't know. Do I have them too low? Probably. I just have more faith, I guess, on a down-to-down basis from the other two teams that I have ahead of them, in a sense. The Niners, I need to – God. Is the Brock Purdy shoe going to drop? Probably not. I think there is a as we kind of broke down on Friday, there is a bit of a middling ground with some of the Brock Purdy discussion. Too many people are wrapped up in the fact that he's undefeated and whatnot, and he's this underground story, and he's this underdog, and blah blah blah, and they're like, "Oh wow, he wins, so it's great." Well, Jimmy G won a lot. He's on the Raiders. He's looked trash all season so far. The Purdy stuff is, but too many people, I think, are expecting it to be horrendous with Purdy. I think, listen, do I think he's a top 15 quarterback? Probably not. He's probably somewhere between 16 and 22 for me. 16 and 24, maybe. He's in that middle. He's in that third quadrant of, a quadrant is 4. So he's in the third one for me. Probably. The thing I do love about what the Niners have with him, again, and I've said it before, is that he takes the risks that guys that prior to him didn't, so it opens the game up more. Their offense would obviously be better and more efficient if they had a quarterback better than him, but for what they're trying to do, it works. The problem is, the problem is, like, when are we going to have the game where defensive backs don't drop every ball he throws at their chest? So let's see. They play, and I hate being the looks at the schedule guy, but let's just do an experiment here. They play, that's false. Last year's Fields might have been, not this year's. Fields this year has been terrible. But then again, I don't know. They play the Cardinals next, so that one ain't going to happen. They then play the Cowboys. Oh, I wish Trey Diggs was healthy. Are the Cowboys going to drop balls that Brock Purdy throws right off their chest? Maybe not. Are the Browns? Oh, what a 2-week stretch for us to get a real look at the Niners offense against scintillatingly high-level defenses. Are the Browns and the Cowboys going to drop balls that Brock Purdy throws at their face instead of his teammates? Who knows? We will have data points over the next few games for them. I'm not being a hater, I promise. I love what they're doing. I think this team is legitimately terrifying. But I just want to see what happens when the defense catches the balls that Brock Purdy throws at him. That's where I'm at right now. Other than that, we'll see. Number 2, the Chiefs. Am I crazy for having the Chiefs above the Niners? Probably. I also think the Niners defense the Chiefs defense is awesome. They have a top 10, 8 unit in the league. They're fast. McDuffie, the fact that they've got that guy is sick, disgusting. It's not fair. He's Trent McDuffie. He's gross. Their D-line is nice. Karlaftis is making some plays. We all know Chris Jones is awesome. Spagnuolo has finally found the rhythm of what to do with his aggressive style. And they're just fast, dude. Their defense is fast as hell. Offensively, the game on Sunday was practice. Will I need to see more to believe their receivers have life figured out? Yes and no. But, I just don't. Listen, if the Chiefs' biggest problem is their passing game, who's their quarterback? I don't know. The greatest player in league history. I'm not worried about them. Chiefs are number 2. Which means, yeah, call me a homer. I don't care. The Dolphins are number 1. They put up 70, man. They put up 70 points. How the hell? Who else do you want me to have first? Some teams haven't scored 70 points this calendar year. Not just in this season. Last year, the Dolphins were 3-0. I had them first. It felt way more prisoner of the moment than it does today. Nick and I talked about this last night. The Dolphins' first wins last year were at home against New England, where it was an uglyish game that they found a way. Week 2 against the Ravens, they were down 35-14 and came all the way back and won in the fourth quarter. Then they played the Bills in week 3. The Bills ran 88 plays to the Dolphins' 45 plays. The Bills scored 17 points. The Dolphins won. I had the Dolphins first, kind of spur of the moment at the time. This year, as we said last night, this team feels way different. This year, they go to LA and beat the Chargers in a back-and-forth game where the offense is insanely explosive and dominant. Then they go to the Patriots, win a completely different game. The defense looks really good. The offense still makes their plays and has their moments, and they get a win there. Then Sunday, against the Broncos, they, being the Dolphins, they score a touchdown on 10 of their first 11 drives and win 73-20. That is not a typo. Their drive chart went touchdown. 88 plays, or their drive chart went 3 plays, 75 yards, touchdown. 9 plays, 81 yards, touchdown. 11 plays, 75 yards, touchdown. Then they decided to go for it on 4th down because Mike McDaniel in 3 drives said, oh, no matter what we do, this team is not going to stop us, so we can do anything. They don't get it. Regardless, they force a punt and a short field. Then 6 plays, 86 yards, touchdown. Then, after forcing a fumble, 1 play, 3 yards, little give to Mostert, touchdown. End of half. Then 11 plays, 90 yards, touchdown. 9 plays, 77 yards, touchdown. 2 plays, 8 yards after a pick, touchdown. Then a punt, so my bad. 10 of their first 12 drives. A punt, man, they stink. This is what the backups in. Then the backups decide to throw a 70-yard bomb to Robbie Anderson from Mike White. Shout out to White Lotus. Then 2 plays, 75 yards, Devon A-Chain touchdown run. They scored 10 touchdowns on 13 drives, 10 touchdowns on their first 12 drives. What they did yesterday was just wild. They are the best offense in the league. This is the fastest offense I've ever seen from a skill position player basis that I've ever seen, and I have watched football for 23 plus years of my life. They did all of that yesterday with a top 10 wide receiver, yes, think about it, on the bench in street clothes, in Jalen Waddle. They have dudes. They have depth. Their offensive line is playing great. Teron Armstead is back. I missed you. I love you. You're a teddy bear. I want to cuddle you. The other guys they've got are playing good. I hope Connor Williams is okay. But their O-line is playing really well. And Mike McDaniel, if Andy Reid's the best coach in the league, which I will give you, Mike McDaniel's number 2. We are at that point. With what he does, his creativity, where this team is at, Mike McDaniel is great. And also, shout out to Chris Grier. I've loved Chris Grier and the way he has handled this team for as long as I can remember, as him being the general manager and being a fan of the Dolphins. What they have done to build this team, to build this organization to where they're at now, is awesome. It is so fun to be a fan of this team. Just keep one upright. It's all we need, man. It's all we need. And again, I understand that this is the homer pick, but I think a lot of people are going to have them first, and rightfully so. It's hard to not have them first after they had 730 yards and 70 points yesterday. That's obviously a massive outlier compared to the year, but their offense is just elite as shit. And right now, no team is operating at a better world than they are. I will, just like I said, last year at this time, through 3 games, they were 3-0, and I put them first. And I do feel like it was a spur-of-the-moment thing. This time, no doubt with a bullet right now through 3 games. And that it means nothing. But as long as they stay together, which you got to say that about every team, they are there. They are right there. And they're going to be in the hunt all year, and they're going to be one of the best teams all year. We'll take a break. Again, the Elite Eight was presented by our friends at Yard Barber.
Hate mowing? Need your lawn or business landscaped? Having trouble with an unruly yard that your neighbors hate? Yard Barbers LLC is your hookup. Mowing, weeding, edging, trimming, aerating, fertilizing, haul away, they can do it all. And they aren't just good for your summertime yard blues. They work all year long, and you can get signed up for their winter services for that annoying snow and ice removal. Find Yard Barbers on Facebook at Yard Barbers LLC, send them an email at yardbarbersqc@gmail.com, or shoot them a text at 309-235-1595.